The next powerful principle is communication. And we're gonna dive way deeper into this in a future video, so stay with us. Communication is a complex topic, but it's so profound and so powerful. A skill that I just did not have for so long. But fundamentally, right, when we talked about keeping love conscious, active, and present, when you're communicating, it is really easy because we're not taught this skill in school. Or we don't learn it in your family unit or friends unit very much. And if you do, you're really lucky. But just the understanding of, am I communicating from a place of love? Or am I communicating from a place of fear or insecurity or hatred or judgment or shamefulness? And I think a lot of times we end up doing that because we don't know what we don't know yet. And there's a lot of different communication tools and tricks that we're going to teach you. But just simply understanding that, am I coming from a place of love when I say this? And if I'm not, how can I change it so that I am? And a lot of times that's just, rather than blaming, it's just expressing the way that you're feeling, right? Like if we're having an argument, I don't say like, you idiot, how dare you, you're so stupid, right? Like I don't say that. I would say, hey babe, I'm feeling really frustrated right now. I feel really unseen. I feel really unsafe. I'm feeling all of these things, right? You're expressing from a feeling space, and you're also letting them know that you love them. And I think that's a game changer.
No, it is. And there's a lot of guys out there that don't know how to express their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And we're going to be talking about that later on. We talk a lot about that in our Relationship Renegades tribe. Of course, all the group coaching and everything we do. So stay tuned on that if you really want to take a deep dive. But a simple one, just like a quick nugget, is we often just say, hey babe, the story I'm creating in my head, because we're always creating stories in our head, is that like you're doing this and you're feeling this. Now I know that's my false self, that's my false ego self. It's not my true self, because she knows my true self. But hey, look, my false self is creating the story that you're doing X, Y, Z. And I don't want to attach myself to that. She's like, oh babe, no, that's not the case. And oh wow, and then we get things out of the rug and we're like, we're back to normal. Let's continue.
That phrase, the story in my head, is such a powerful phrase to use, because you're not telling them what it is, right? Like you're doing this or you're doing that. You're not blaming. It's a tool to be able to separate yourself from that. And so communication always coming from a place of love.
The next one is really near and dear to our hearts. It is being childlike, not childish.
Yes.
And man, I don't even know where to start with this one, but as a kid, you guys have probably heard my story, the first video, but growing up, given the domestic violence type household, it was hard for me to really enjoy my childhood and really play a lot. And so one of our values is that play and being childlike and not childish. And I think from that place, and I know you'll be able to expand on this, babe, is like to be able to see the world and have a lot of firsts, right? Like when you wake up, when you were a kid and you were gonna go to your friend's house or go to a new thing, you didn't even know what you were gonna expect. You had no expectations. You had no attachments. You were just like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, wow, what a great feeling. Like right now, we're just like, oh, I've already done that. I don't know about that. But if we choose to live in this curiosity that Rachel loves to talk about, and being this like childlike, like, oh, this wonder and awe, and really being excited about stuff, man, it changes the game. And when we get to be kids together, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, a lot of times we talk about how we constantly feel like we can see like my little kid self and his little kid self just getting to play together. And so many times, I think when we talk about, so many people are missing the fun of life, right? We're working super hard, we're trying to achieve a bunch of stuff, but we're not actually enjoying it or enjoying each other. And so I think it's just super, super important to always remember of like, how am I showing up? And how could I be a little bit more childlike? Like when you watch kids, right? They're so full of life, so full of energy, and so full of fun. And I think once you realize that, again, it is my job to create my own happiness. It is my job, not someone else's. And how can I add more fun, more playfulness? Even that one question, right? Even if you ask that one question alone, how could I add more fun and playfulness to my day today? If you ask that question, your mind is just like a computer. It will give you those answers. And so sometimes, we'll be doing things and having a stressful day, and we've both made the commitment, right? Especially recently, that regardless of what's going on, I refuse to not enjoy my life. Like I just refuse because tomorrow is not promised. And if I didn't enjoy today, then what the heck am I doing?
Yeah.
And so finding little moments, right? Where like we'll blast music and have a dance party together, or literally bust into an improv game and just start being ridiculously silly together.
Yeah.
And everybody's values are different, right? Like some people might not value, you know, doing improvisation games or dancing together.
Play's gonna look different
but
to you guys.
What is it for you? You know, like how could you add more play and fun into your relationship? And if you feel like, you know, sometimes I feel like people get scared to start changing things because they have just done something the same way for so long. And talk about it with your partner, you know, express that you're like, hey man, I just wish that we had more fun in our relationship. And what can we do together to bring more fun to this relationship? And to create a safe space where people feel safe to be silly. You know, a quote we always say is like, be with someone you can be ridiculous with. Because we all are crazy. We're all ridiculous. And if we don't feel safe to do that, then, you know, we're not fully being our full selves.
Absolutely. And there's one more thing I want to say with this. Another reason why I love Play so much with us is because when you're playing and enjoying yourself and doing the things that you love, like you're vibrating at such an energy and a frequency that starts to be emitted that people are like, man, I love being around this person. You become magnetic. You become magnetic to business offers, business opportunities, more money, more connection, more community, you know, friends that really light a fire under you and really support you. You start to become this because you're having fun.
Yeah.
So that's one of the ones that we love.
Put fun first and watch what happens.
Yeah.